Well, hello guys. I'm going to be talking about bedwetting today. We're going to talk about what causes it, some misconceptions and myths that we're going to kind of debunk, as well as what we can do to help your child. Your child may be 3 or they may be 17 and still wetting the bed, or heck, you may be an adult. Come and join me finding out some information on why you're actually wetting the bed. I'm Tiffany. I'm a pelvic health educator and therapist. I've been treating patients for 16 years. Wow, that's a long time. 16 years, but doing pelvic health the last 5. I've been through many courses for pelvic health, 1, 2, and 3 level courses, plus additional specialty courses, on top of a lot of research on pediatrics from some personal issues that I've had with friends of mine that I've helped them through, as well as a lot of patients and kiddos that I've helped. So grab a pen, grab a notebook, stay to the end, make sure you catch all the information because I'm going to give you some additional resources so you can kind of keep up with all this ever-changing information. So let's first talk about where the bladder and the bowels are. So this is your pelvis, right? Okay, so this is the lower part where urine passes through, as well as where fecal matter comes out. Your bladder sits right here in the very front, right above where this pubic bone is. And your rectum comes right here from the back and sits back here. The two sit literally, let me turn them around. The two sit literally right next to each other. This colon can actually stretch up to 10 times its normal size. 10 times, guys. So what happens is this colon can actually get full and stuck with stool pushing and pressing onto your bladder. Your bladder is a muscle, just like it's not like this muscle that contracts. It's not like that. It's actually called a smooth muscle. And what happens when the stool is pushing onto this bladder, it interrupts the nerves that make the bladder function, as well as squishing, decreasing the capacity of the bladder. If you are unable to sleep through the night, you have a dysfunction of your bladder. Your body has a hormone that it releases that decreases the production of urine while you sleep. You should not be getting up multiple times throughout the night to use the restroom. And this is me getting on a different soapbox. But when it comes to bedwetting, people are like, oh, I'm just going to wake up my kid throughout the night. It'll be fine. We have these alarms to wake to teach them just to wake up. All in all, yes, that's fine and dandy. Yes, if you have to go to the bathroom and it's severe, you should wake and go to the bathroom. But this bladder should be able to hold the amount of urine your body produces throughout the night. A couple misconceptions about bedwetting is, one, it's not caused by not waking throughout the night because they're a deep sleeper. That is, it's not because of stress. Doesn't mean that they have a necessarily underdeveloped bladder, and it does not mean that they have an overproduction of urine. If your bladder is functioning correctly, those things should not be happening. There is a dysfunction. Finding the root cause of the dysfunction, whether it be constipation or just generally treating the overactive bladder, is the first course. Your child will not always outgrow bedwetting. There are a number of adults who started wetting the bed at age 4, continued all the way through high school, and still wet the bed as an adult. So it is not true that, oh, just wait it out. We're going to wait. It's a 70% odd that a bedwetting 9-year-old will still wet the bed at 19. Why? The original cause, whether it be impacted stool or just a general overactive bladder, has not been addressed. And 32% of those teens that actually wet the bed at night typically wet the bed during the day. In fact, a lot of that goes for even younger children. Some younger children, you'll notice that they have some urinary leaking throughout the day into their underwear, or unable to get to the bathroom in time. Typically, those bedwetters are having those accidents during the day as well. There's another misconception that if your child's wetting the bed at 4, you shouldn't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. That is not necessarily the case. I want you, if your child's wetting the bed, I want you to first look, are they constipated? So let's go back to the constipation. How can you tell if your child's actually constipated? Number one, so look at your child's stool. If it's super hard, that's the constipation. If it's super liquidy and just smearing out and coming out in their underwear, that is a sign of constipation, because your fecal matter is literally just seeping out and coming through. And to be honest with you, a lot of those children can't even smell it. So give them a little bit of grace, because they honestly lose the ability to smell their stool, and they don't realize it until way later whenever they go to the restroom and they look down. And some parents think that this is literally them just like being lazy and just not wanting to go to the bathroom, and that's not actually the case. Go check out the video, The Poo and You. It's in the description section below. I explain this to you in such a better way than I could ever do. They did an incredible job putting this together, and it's great to show your children. So if they're having bedwetting or accidents throughout the day, that could be a sign of constipation. We had already said earlier that the constipation can lead to the bedwetting at night, but it could also lead to leaking during the day. Again, it's squishing that bladder. The bladder's dysfunction. They can't get to the restroom in time, therefore they're having leaking accident. If they're going to the bathroom constantly, if it's frequent urination, that can also be a sign of constipation because it's, again, decreasing the capacity of the bladder and they're running to the bathroom, giving them an overactive bladder, but it's from the constipation. If they have frequent UTIs, that's another one. Frequent UTIs can happen because fecal matter will actually seep forward and get into the into like where the urethra is, and the bacteria will get up and cause the urinary tract infection. If they're having belly pain, they'll complain about belly pain and difficulty bloating, things of that nature. They may decrease even their appetite if they're having all that tummy pain. So just be mindful of that as a possibility of a symptom of constipation. And last, if they continue to have trouble with potty training or hiding in the corner to have a bowel movement, there could be some issues with the constipation, because what happens is a lot of children, they're like, my kid just wants to stand up to go to the bathroom. You have to be mindful of the fact that sometimes they do that and they withhold from going to the bathroom because they are unable to empty their stool. Plus, it could be very painful for them. So them hiding in a corner and changing their position and trying to hide that they're going to the bathroom, there's a fear with going to the restroom on the toilet, and that needs to be addressed. And why is this happening? So let's talk about how we can help this. What would coming to a pelvic floor therapist, what would we do? First, we're going to talk about what kind of stool they have, what in different ways to kind of help with constipation. One of the biggest is making sure they're consuming enough water throughout the day. Withholding water when there's bedwetting at night is another misconception. I forgot to mention that earlier. Plus, water is going to help the stool consistency be appropriate. So if it's super dry stool, your body's taking all of its food and absorbing as much water from that food that when it finally gets to the intestines, it's already been depleted of all of the water already there, that it starts to get harder and harder and harder as they process and try to pull the nutrients out the food, and it turns into that stool and it gets very, very, very dry. So that is why you want to make sure you have just enough water. I typically recommend to my parents to about half their body weight is ideal, but I would say just 8 ounces of water at each meal, and then encourage water between meals, especially if they're young. Another thing to help with constipation is utilizing a squatty potty. Using a colon massage, I have a great short on colon massage that I want you to go ahead and go look for. Colon massage helps to increase the motility of the intestines to get everything basically just moving, manually moving that stool. Another important thing is making sure that your child does not strain when they poop. Straining when you poop is not utilizing the correct muscles. Your pelvic floor muscles are literally a big bowl, y'all. It's a big old giant bowl. When those muscles are tight and tense, do you think that stool's going to be able to come out? No. You get yourself in that squatting position so that muscles kind of get on stretch. But then what you would do is what we call belly big, belly hard. Again, look for my short on that. The belly big, belly hard is a wonderful option. I'll go ahead and link that in the description section below, the colon massage as well as the belly big, belly hard video. But what the belly big, belly hard is, uses their breath to help extend out the abdomen, indirectly relaxing those pelvic floor muscles so they can actually evacuate their stool more appropriate. One thing that I really love to recommend is making sure that you're seeing a great pediatric urologist. I actually started following Steve Hodgins. His website is bedwettingandaccents.com, and his number one thing that he treats his pediatric patients with is enemas, and there's like a whole formula to how he does it. So look into his website, because there's incredible resources on there, as well as education forums and support groups to help you through this very difficult situation. There is a hormone that regulates the amount of urine that you produce, and in some cases urologists will actually prescribe this while we're still trying to navigate with paired with pelvic floor therapy, navigate the actual cause and pinpoint and treat those causes. In the meantime, sometimes this medication is prescribed. Here's a list right here so you can see the different medications and what they do. And again, that is definitely for your doctor to prescribe. Wouldn't hurt though to ask about it. So I really hope this was helpful for y'all. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment below, DM me, or email me at tiffany@mycoreharmony.com. I look forward to seeing y'all and answering all your questions. Take care, guys.